we are, Team SMWS, in northwest of Spain, near the city of Lugo, and this is the start of our sherry cask pilgrimage. So we're heading up to the forests to see the trees where the casks start their journey. We'll go through to the cooperages, bodegas, all the way down to Andalucia, and we'll find out everything there is to know about sherry casks.
And what makes our whisky so fantastic when it's matured in one of those sherry casks.
First stop, the forests of Galicia, to meet up with Narciso Fernandez. He owns the Forestal Peninsular Sawmill Company here in the north of Spain, as well as the Tavassa Cooperage in the south. There's no one better to turn to if you want to understand the story of sherry casks, from here in the forest right through to the bodegas of Jerez de la Frontera.
Narciso, tell us where we are.
We stay in Galicia, in the north of Spain, in a forest for cask-matured trees. The cask-matured is a very appreciated tree to do sherry cask. We chose this tree because they have a diameter, a big diameter, more or less 60, 70 centimeters. Mm-hmm. We need one minimum 40 centimeters to do the stays. It's a tree approximately with 180, between 80, 70 years old. Mm-hmm. And it's very, very healthy. The origin and the species of the oak are very important. For example, with the Spanish oak or cask-matured, the main character is the tannins, the contents of tannins. They don't have a peak density, and the contents of tannins are very high. These tannins produce in the future special smells, special flavors, and also more color. It's also very important the sherry wine used for the seasoning these casks. But the characters of the cask-matured are more tannins, more color, and flavors to dry fruits, chocolate, more rich in flavors. The Cask-Salva, American oak, the color are very more light. The flavors more fresh, more vanilla, more apple, more yeast, different flavors, and the both have his character. The fantastic whiskies, Scotch whiskies, need one or other relation to the whiskies.
We've seen the tree come down, Narciso. Yes. It was measured specifically. Now, what are you looking to get out of this piece of the tree?
This part of the tree we use for staves. 280 meters, because we like to do 2 staves, 140 plus 140. Mm-hmm. Okay? It's a special measure to do the casks, the sherry cask, 140. Okay? This tree, this part, if possible, have 1.2 meter cubics. We do 0.5 meter cubics of staves.
Roughly how many staves would that be?
More or less 100, 120 staves.
Okay.
And how many staves in a cask would be?
32. With this tree, we have the possibility to do 3 casks.
Right.
If you see the moisture, the contents of water now in the tree are very, very high.
Yeah.
If possible, is 70% of the contents, and we need to reduce to building the casks to reduce to 12. It's a natural process, and we do the first part here in the north during approximately 3-4 months. in log, then in stave, and when the stave have more or less 30-35 degrees of humidity, we transport to the south. And in the south start a second process to dry and reduce between 30 to 12. In this time we lost approximately 18 months more.
18 months.
Yes,
Yeah.
the total process is our minimum 2 years.
Yeah. From
2 years.
70%
From 70 to 12% of humidity.
in about 2 years.
In 2 years.
And the two-stage process is essential. Jerez, the climate down there, can finish the drying process.
Yes, the weather of Jerez is very, very nice to dry because there are a big temperature, better temperature like this, but also there are a lot of humidity, and it's very nice to dry the staves.
You cut a specific tree in one area, and then you go to a different place to cut something else.
This space is approximately 20 hectares or more. If possible, there are 1,500 trees in all this space, but only is possible to cut 150, maximum 200 trees.
In a year?
The other, in this year, and the other continue growing, and if possible, don't cut here in this space in the next 20 years or 15 years.
Okay. Wow.
This is the sustainable system.
Yeah.
Because this space continue growing, and don't touch in 15, 20 years more.
The sustainability is obviously a big issue, and you're cutting down a tree that's 70, 80 years old. How is that managed in terms of the forestry?
The political of the sustainability in Spain is very, very serious and very, very high control. For example, if I like to cut these trees, we need to speak with the government, and the government see and give you a permit, okay? And if possible to cut. Never is possible to change the use of the forest. If we have one forest with oak, never is possible to cut the oak and replant with pine.
What we're looking at, because we have to regenerate the forest and make sure new oaks are growing,
But you know this is a natural forest. The regeneration is a natural. We don't plant.
Okay.
The natural acorns. Acorns go into the land and start growing new trees like this. If we have surface like this with new trees, we cut one big tree, one old, immediately the young tree growing a lot.
yeah, because we
And
saw
more
the acorns
healthy.
coming off the tree,
Yes.
so it's just a natural process.
Yes, a
There's
natural
no,
process.
no,
replant by the people, by
Yeah.
the human. No,
Yeah.
it's unnatural.
yeah,
It's total natural. When you cut the old trees, immediately the new trees have more healthy, more sun,
More space.
more space, more
Yeah.
food in the land,
yeah,
and start to growing very, very quickly.
yeah,
This is the natural
yeah.
process.
And then you'll have to wait another 70, 80,
100 years.
100 years is sure. This is a tree like this
yeah.
with a big tree.
We've been to distilleries many times and seen whiskey getting made, but to come right back to the beginning, seeing the trees getting chopped down, it's incredible.
Yeah, I think it's part of the process that nobody really thinks about, but it's great to see how the forests are managed and that sustainability piece as well. There's something sad about chopping down an old tree, but it makes room for the new ones.
Yeah, I mean, it's regeneration, natural selection, I suppose. All these acorns go into the ground, but there's only one of them really that's going to take up the space, that's going to, carry on its life for the next 80, 100 years. But what a team of guys as well. The skills that they're showing is amazing.
Very
Isn't
specialised.
it? Yeah.
Similar to Cooper's, to be honest.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, skills at every part of the story, really. But yeah, fantastic to see it. I guess you don't get the chance to come to a forest very often and see this part of the story, so I feel quite lucky.
Yeah, absolutely. Next stop is the sawmill, where these trees begin the next stage of their journey to becoming staves for a society sherry cask. Wood hits you straight away as you open the car door.
It's full of wood. This is a picture. Look at this.
New casks.
The Songil is a company here in Lugo. The name is Forestal Peninsular. It's found for my father 60 years ago. The objective is to do stays to build in the casks, the sherry casks. All the trees you have seek to cut, return here, come on here, and then we do the stays. Then these stays go to Jerez to build in the cask. But in the middle there are a long process to dry, a natural dry, if possible during 2 years or more.
But we can see that process now.
Like the staves from the sawmill, it's time for us to head south to Andalucia and Spain's Sherry Triangle. This is where the casks take shape and the sherry that fills them is produced.
Right, so here we are at the cooperage Tavasa in Jerez de la Frontera. You can hear the clanking of steel and bandsaws in the background, and yeah, really looking forward to getting in there and seeing how these staves become casks.
Yeah, it's always amazing to see inside a cooperage and get up close and witness the skills, the craftsmanship, which turns these, pieces of wood into this beautiful finished product, which goes on to mature whiskey. So yeah, always a treat.
Yeah, the noise and the fire, bring it on.
You see the difference of the color?
Yeah, so the darker is more for
Season.
longer.
Yes, it's oxidation. This is more young. This is, for example, only 8 months, and this have 1 year and a half.
So this is almost ready to use.
It's very ready.
Yeah.
What's the advantage of air drying instead of any artificial process?
We use artificial process. All the process to dry between the north and the south, approximately 2 years, reduce in five weeks. But the problem is in the dry is very quickly, and don't lose the timber, all the tannins. It's not the same quality.
So is it almost like with whiskey maturing? Each of the staves is maturing almost as it's drying. It's evolving. The tannin is reducing.
The tannin
Yeah.
reducing.
So we almost are maturing the staves themselves.
Many people have tried to find different ways to speed up the maturation process when they're making whiskey.
Yeah. So you need the time.
If you like to do a very good cask with good smell, with smells to grapes, to dry fruits, to chocolate, it's obligatory to dry natural. Is the difference between one dry stave and one wet stave? It's more heavy, and the sound are total different, more solid sound. And this is
Yeah. Higher pitched.
and the weight is
Or slower.
in the past the old coopers don't use machines to know if the staves are dry. Only with this,
Wow.
no,
Okay.
no perfectly, and don't wrong.
Yeah, they get it right every time.
That's really playing it by ear, isn't it?
Ah, very good.
Inside the cooperage, casks are first raised by hand, heated and pulled into shape, and toasted to the required degree, usually about 240 to 250 degrees centigrade for between 40 to 60 minutes.
They finally get their heads fitted, some careful finishing, testing, and the all-important branding.
In our cooperage, we build in 92 casks per day. Immediately, the casks are ready, totally ready, but it's not a sherry cask, it's a cask. Then we need to send to sellers from Jerez, from the area from Jerez, with the certificate sherry cask, and this cask start the process to seasoning with the wine the customer prefer, normally oloroso or PX, Amontillado, Manzanilla. It depends the customer. And stay in this process to seasoning 1 year and a half, 2 years. It depends the preference of the customer. In total, between we cut the tree to finalize to send the casks between the cooperage to the distillery, between minimum 5-6 years.
So that's the casks finished, getting loaded up on our way to the bodega to be filled with sherry. But I mean, what about that? The whole experience of seeing the casks come together in there.
Yeah, seen everything from start to finish. Super skilled craftsmen, each specialised in their own station. And amazing to see that kind of rugged oak tree become something so beautiful and polished. And now, yeah, they're heading off to the bodega for some to be filled with some sherry.
But such a manual process in there as well, you know, just all these guys with a specific task and
Yeah, with an eye for detail.
it looks like it hasn't changed in decades, really, you know, some machinery, but a lot of like really manual work going on.
Aye, we can't rush these things.
You're
That's what
not-
we're learning.
You're not rushing.
Yeah.
So yeah, these casks come out filled with sherry. So we need to find out a little bit more about what kind of sherry is going into the casks and what kind of impact that has in terms of what we're doing with the film whiskey.
Creating the cask is only the first part of the story. Next, they have to be filled with wine from within the sherry triangle.
We've come to a very special place. We're in Bodegas Barón in Sanlúcar de Barrameda. Here with Nerea from Tavasa, who works with the wineries on coordinating all the wine that goes into the casks. And you can see here we have SMWF hogsheads behind us. Can you tell us a wee bit about what we've got seasoning here?
We have 204 in American oak and 204 in Spanish oak. 102 in American oak with PX and 102 in Oloroso, and the same of the Spanish oak.
Yeah, so a good variety seasoning here, yeah.
You can specify how long the wine, the sherry, stays in the casks. So, you know, we make that decision, right, Ian?
Yeah, so we will be drawing some of these off after 12 months, some at 18, up to sort of 2 years, yeah. And then we'll be filling back up. So when we take some out, we'll be laying down more casks. So yeah, complicated process, but well worthwhile.
Okay, we're with Antonio and we're going to try some of the Oloroso out of one of the Society's casks. Come and try this.
Gracias.
And this is Venencia, is that
Yes.
right? And that's a skill all of its own, pouring the sherry from the Venencia.
Yeah, I
into the
tried
glass.
that and it didn't go very well.
Yeah.
Takes some practice.
It's a humiliation. Antonio makes it look all too easy.
Easy.
Salud.
Hello.
Cheers.
Yeah, so this is a American oak hogshead with Oloroso for 6 months.
You can see why this is a favoured wine for maturation, for casks that are going to go on to be used for whiskey. It's got that, real body, real punch, heft to it.
Dry, nutty, fruity, all the characteristics we want. And then coupled with the American oak that's been toasted, the vanilla, it's just like a great combination that works well with pretty much any type of Scotch. Dry, nutty Oloroso and the darker, sweeter Pedro Jimenez are the most commonly used varieties of sherry to season casks that will go on to mature Scotch whisky. But there's a whole world of variety to discover, with the aging process, the type of grape, and even the location of a bodega within the sherry triangle all playing their part. To find out more, we travelled to the coastal town of Sanlúcar de Barrameda for a sherry tasting at Bodegas Barrom.
We're delighted to be joined by the head enologist, Manolo Torres. Manolo, great to be with you here today. And we've been through this process of seeing how the cask has been made, but we need to understand el vino, we need to understand the sherry. So we've got varieties of sherry and you're going to talk us through them. Entonces voy a hablar un poquito en español, no tan bueno, pero voy a tratar.
Entendido.
Entonces, primero, ¿qué hay de vino acá?
Bien, nosotros tenemos en un 85% crianza biológica, manzanillas y finos.
Manolo explains how much sherry ranges in style. The white Palomino grape produces everything from Fino to Oloroso sherries, while Pedro Jimenez and Moscatel grapes make sweeter varieties. Fino and Manzanilla wines develop a natural protective layer of yeast known as Flavour that allows these lighter, drier sherries to age biologically. Manzanilla is specific to Sanlúcar de Barrameda, where the coastal environment influences its maturation. The flor is allowed to fade away on amontillados and palo cortados, with some oxidization leading to more colour and depth.
Oloroso, meanwhile, is allowed to deliberately oxidize and is fortified to a higher degree, making it one of the most popular styles for seasoning whisky casks. Manolo describes Pedro Jimenez as the sweetest wine in the world, perfect as a dessert drink and bringing a rich sweetness to whisky. Having sampled his range of sherries, it was fitting to give Manolo a taste of a sherry-matured society bottling. This is called Dali-esque bodega landscape, so reference to Salvador Dali. And I guess our tasting panel imagined just a Spanish landscape, sort of melting as his works frequently did. Yeah, one of 268 bottles. So single cask bottling. This is from Speyside region, so northeast of Scotland, which tends to produce quite sweet, fruity, honeyed, easy drinking whiskies traditionally. And this one spent some time in an ex-bourbon cask from the US, and then has spent at least 2 years in a first fill Pedro Jimenez hogshead. Yeah. So yeah, a great transition from the PX into a PX matured whiskey. So this is 16 years old as well, and the alcohol 55.6, so natural strength, quite high strength.
Muy integrado, no es alcohólico, está integrado en la bota.
It's integrated.
Integrated.
It's very kind of rounded, warming, inviting. Get some stem ginger. Yeah, like
Jengibre.
Jengibre, exacto.
maybe cherries.
En Escocia tejemos slange.
Slange.
Para salud.
Salud.
Slange. Ahora
Bueno.
más fuerte.
No, no mucho. No quema, es
No quema.
de paso agradable.
Sí,
Sí.
That means good.
sí. It goes down very well. Goes down very well.
Congratulations.
Sí. Es un taste, un sabor de Escocia y también
Y
de
también de
España,
España.
de Jerez.
Un hermanamiento entre
Sí, excelente.
dos regiones.
Manolo, muchas gracias.
Nada, a
Muchísimas
vosotros,
gracias.
Leith.
Un
Gracias.
placer para entender más de
Nada,
del vino.
gracias a vosotros por acompañarnos y que disfrutéis de los grandes whisky
Excelente.
y los
Gracias.
vinos de la tierra.
Cheers.
The Society also purchases casks from different bodegas in Andalucia, which have been used to age sherry in traditional Solera systems over many years.
One of those is Jimenez Spinola, where Jose Antonio Zarzana and his wife Laura Murphy specialise in working exclusively with Pedro Jimenez grapes.
This is a company of my family. We have been working just with the Pedro Jimenez grapes since 1729. We are already in the 9th generation doing it, and at the day of today we are the unique winery dedicated 100% to Pedro Jimenez grapes. Pedro Jimenez is very expressive, and not only for a typical sweet wine that everybody knows, but as you can sell as well with lovely white wines, very fruity ones. We are specialists in this type of wines. We are specialists in taking advantage of all the possibilities of the Pedro Jimenez grapes.
So the Scotch Malt Whisky Society are lucky enough to purchase some casks from Jimenez Spinola to mature. Ours is it's our honour as well. So when we take a delivery of casks to Scotland, what's the history? What's the backstory behind those casks? Can you tell us a bit about that?
It's a lovely story. Well, we have white wines, we have white still wines, and we have sweet wines. So one cask in our hands is like a child at the school. Initially, they spend 3-4 years making fermentations. During the fermentation, all the astringency of the oak disappear because the level of the temperature and the extraction of this astringency that initially has got the new oak decline in the first 4-3 years. After, step by step, we put that barrels in our Solera of Pedro Jimenez 1819. And it's a quite quality wine, of course. We use exactly the same barrels where we have the wine that we bottle, the wine that we select. Exactly the same wine is the wine of the cask that you have.
Like each and every whisky distillery, every bodega in the Sherry Triangle has its own story to tell and produces its own character of wine. It's an endlessly fascinating place and endlessly intriguing to explore, from creating the casks to finding out how the sherry flavours contribute to our Scotch Malt Whisky Society whiskies.
Ewan, what an experience it's been travelling from the north, west of Spain down to the south, taking in every part of this process. It's been quite amazing.
You know, to be honest, you could come out here every week and learn something new. So yeah, hopefully we can come back and continue the learning process.
A real treat to see every step of this process, and for me, I think the standout is the kind of level of attention, the quality, the manual processes that are still in place. We've seen it like in every aspect, from the forests right down to the bodegas, the cooperages here in Andalucia.
Yeah, skilled people at every level real attention to detail, quite like the whisky industry, to be honest. Everyone needs to play their part. You get a real sense of the people, the contribution that people make to the quality of the wine, the quality of the casks. Yeah, really fantastic to see.
And also, when you start to tell the story of sherry and then dig into it, it opens up this whole world of variety. But that translates also into what we call a sherry cask, and ultimately what members of the Scotch Malt Whisky Society are going to be able to appreciate in the future.
One of the great things about learning more about sherry is that you have to nose and taste, and there's endless variety, the different styles of wine, but every bodega also has their own twists, their own ways of doing things. So much like the casks that we released to society members, there's just endless discovery, endless flavours. So you can really see parallels between the two industries.
Yeah, and just understand more about what's going into the cask before it comes to Scotland, and then how we work with it to open up a whole world of sherry matured whisky. An incredible journey, but great to be able to tell the story, share it with our members, and share good whisky with our members as well.
With that, there's only time to catch up with Narciso again in the centre of Jerez to share a glass of society whisky matured in a cask from right here in Andalucia, seasoned with Oloroso sherry. I thought it would be good for us to share a wee dram before you head back up to the north to Lugo. So, we're going to have a sherry cask matured whisky. Won't be of any surprise to anybody. What we have here is 13 years old, and it's a Highland whisky that has been additionally matured for about 2 years in an Oloroso hogshead. Spicy, deep spicy aromas.
Spicy.
Cinnamon.
Yeah.
Yes.
Shall we try it?
Cheers, my friend.
Cheers.
Cheers. Thank you very much, Narcissus.
Cheers.
Fantastic.
It's
It's a fantastic whisky.
58.1%, but it tastes very mellow, yeah?
The color is totally similar to the sherry wines.
Yeah.
Very nice. Start with the forest, continue with the cooperage, continue with the fantastic sherry wines, and the final is a fantastic idea to finalize with this product.
Yeah.
This fantastic product.
It's been a pleasure. So thank you.
No, thank you for you, and thank you for to do this fantastic product.